you can see hum sabke chehron se how excited we have been, throughout the day to have you here, to host you, to have this conversation. So Ananya, thank you so much for making time to join us.
Thank you, and thank you for having me, and sorry to keep you guys waiting.
Ananya, I'm going to kickstart our conversation by reflecting back on 2024. Now, I'm going to be super honest with you here. When we as journalists in the future, when we're going to write about how Ananya Panday's journey started, 2024 is going to be the year which will be monumental in your career. You were so authentic, you took risks, you did some amazing, amazing partnerships in this year. And I can, I think, say on behalf of everyone here, our view of looking at you as an audience has completely changed. How do you reflect back on 2024? How have you grown as an artist?
Thank you, that's so kind, and your voice is very sweet and calming also, so that feels good after this Bombay traffic that's I've come through. But yeah, I would agree with you. I think as an actor and as a person, it's been a monumental year for me. More than so many changes, I actually feel my most myself this year more than anything. I feel like since I started working the first few years, I was a little all over the place. I was not trying to be something that I'm not, but I was, listening to people's opinions, thinking that maybe I should be like this or be like that. But I feel like 2024 has been that one year where I've come back to myself in a way, and I've truly felt like myself and felt comfortable in my skin. I felt more confident about the choices that I've made. And I think that's reflected in the work as well. In Kho Gaye Hum Kahan, Call Me Bae and Control, I really felt like, I'm not saying I was playing myself on screen, but I felt very comfortable in those characters and on those sets with the people that I was working with. And that really helped to tap into a different energy in me that I also didn't know that I had. And not just with films, but even, we're here to talk about brands, but even with brands, it's been a very interesting year for me. I attended the Chanel show in Paris, which was very new and different. I walked for Rohit Bal this year, and these are some iconic brands I've only heard about and known from my parents about since I was younger. But to actually actively participate in those in the last year has been very gratifying.
Excellent. No, and we absolutely loved your work for Rohit Bal. I think that is one iconic outfit. Absolutely love that one. Speaking about brands, Ananya, you have always been a darling of brands. But how has your process of collaborating with them, how has that changed? And in pure play Gen Z language, is there a red flag or a green flag when you approach a brand or when a brand approaches you for a collaboration?
I think my process has been pretty much the same since I started until now. It's always been about something that feels like an extension of myself. When I started out, I actually made a list of brands that I actually use in my everyday life. And then I went out there and I was like, let's see if I can partner with these brands. For example, Gillette Venus. I've been using it since I was 12 or 13, and that I think reflected in my agency going out there and reaching out to them so that the partnership feels authentic. Even when I talk about the brand or I'm selling the brand, it's coming from a personal space. I have my own stories of when I used it for the first time, how my mom gave it to me. It just adds a personal touch to it. So I think the most important thing for me is if I actually use it in my daily life, because as actors we're selling so many things. It can often feel inauthentic, or it can feel like a barrage of things that ye bhi bech rahi hai, wo bhi bech rahi hai, so to add a sense of authenticity, it's always good if you're a personal user of the brand. So I think that would be a green flag, something that I use myself, something that allows me to be myself also, going on to brand shoots, if they're too stuck onto yehi karna hai, wohi karna hai, sometimes that can be a little throwing off. When a brand lets me bring in my own energy or my own ideas, that's nice for me. And a red flag, I would say it's the opposite only, but like dishonesty. When a brand is like selling that they're ethical or they follow all these practices, but then in their culture or in their corporation, they're not actually living those principles every single day. I think that's quite transparent for anyone to see. So that would be a red flag.
Excellent. I think that was a very honest answer. And if given a choice, who would you choose to collaborate with? Whether an Indian legacy brand, a startup, or an international giant?
That's a tough question. I want to do all of them, if possible. No, I mean, they all have their advantages, of course. You know, a legacy Indian brand has a sense of nostalgia. It's very, you know, embedded in our culture. And you feel that when you're doing those brands, you know. So that has that, you know, you can discuss it with your mom or your nani or your dadi, or you can actually see the evolution of how the brand has changed over years. So that's, you know, a plus point of a legacy Indian brand. With an international brand, as an actor, obviously, it gives you that exposure. But I also think the more representation that India has on a global scale puts India also more on the map that it is, you know, and I experienced that firsthand when I attended Chanel or when I went for the Swarovski events in New York. The way people look at India, the attitude is completely different, you know, and it's very, I feel very patriotic when I go abroad and I'm representing India. People have so many questions, and I like clearing people's doubts, actually, you know, about our country and how it is. It's really, it's an honor to be able to do that. And with a startup, again, there are so many amazing things. You know, I love that startups have a story. You know, you can like, I love when there's an idea behind. Like, for example, my best friend Dia, she started her own a business called Gobble Right, which makes special wraps and rotis which have almond flour and, you know, different kinds of flours that help you with your gut health, because she's had a gut issue growing up. So I think integrating yourself and your own personal story in a brand is so exciting. I really like reading about why someone started a specific brand. So I'm going to be selfish and say all, but if I have to choose, I'd say a made in India startup brand.
I absolutely love that answer. That's going to be the headline of my story.
Okay,
Thank you for that. Ananya, beyond brand endorsements, what about launching something of your own? Can we expect a brand by Ananya Panday to be launched anytime soon?
I mean, I hope so. It's definitely been an active thought, but I'm the kind of person, if I do something, I want to do it properly. I don't want to just do it for the sake of doing it, you know? There have been a lot of opportunities where it's been like, why don't you start a fashion line or this or that? But I'm like, it really, you know, when like people, I don't want to specifically say actors, but when people just start a brand because it's a trend and it's not something that they actually resonate with, you can see that gap. You know, it doesn't translate to the buyers. So when it does happen, and if it does happen, or hopefully, it has to be something that I very strongly believe in. And things that I believe in, I would say, is women's health, wellness products for women, something in the beauty space, but not the typical, something different in the beauty space, like something that has like care with beauty. Yeah.
I think she has dropped some hints, guys, so we're all waiting for that. Yeah. You know, when I watched Call Me Bae, and I had watched Emily in Paris before that, so the series has been compared
Yeah.
a lot because of the fashion looks, right? But you looked so gorgeous, so stunning in that movie, and you're quite a fashionista. Talk to us about how you look at the fashion market in India, some key trends you believe will be a hit in 2025.
Contrary to belief, I'm not really much of a fashionista. I don't take fashion too seriously. I try to enjoy it as much as I can, and Bae is very, very different. She's like full on. She wakes up also in those typical silk pajamas, and you should see how I wake up. You will not be calling me a fashionista or any of those things. I feel like India's at a very exciting time when it's coming to fashion. There's suddenly, again, a lot of new voices coming out. There's a lot of experimentation. There's a lot of fluidity in fashion, which is exciting to see, because I think if we look back and we see our culture, you know, the way kings used to dress, they used to be like peacocks almost, and they used to wear those over-the-top looks and color and, you know, ornaments and stuff. And I feel like somewhere in the middle we lost that, but I think now we're coming back to like our culture in a strange but exciting way. Yeah, there's a lot more fluidity.
Excellent. I think, again, a very beautiful answer. One of the things which caught my eye when I was preparing for this interview was a clip of your interview with your dad, which was, I believe, a part of the So Positive initiative that you have taken, where you talk about online bullying, you talk about mental health, wellness overall. Now, we have a lot of brands in our audience. All of us are trying to build a personal brand, and also the brands, fortunately and unfortunately, in public eye. So in some way or the other, everyone's exposed to trolling. Any mantra to, you know, deal with online trolls?
Uh, what would I say? I would say maybe see everything in perspective. You know, sometimes we look at the social media world and we kind of think that that's our whole world. You know, we just see a few people on Instagram making comments. It's one, two, even 100 people. And when you look back into a country of so many crore people, you look back and you're like, that's not even a speck in the system, you know. Actually, when you go out into the real world, like for example, today, when your stalls are set up and people come to you, and actually that human connection is what matters at the end of the day. So I would say not to care about it too much. I honestly have stopped caring. And to put it into perspective. And just be honest and true to yourself. Even if at the start it seems difficult, it seems tough to be yourself, no one's really liking what you're doing, I feel like people can't accept change. You know, they're very uncomfortable with change, but over time, you know, you'll be happy that you stuck to your gut and you did something that was true to you rather than just following what everyone's doing.
Again, a very good answer. Ananya, you talked about human connection, and you know, across these 2 days, we've talked about two very important themes. That in the business and retail, especially, we need to refocus on human connection because everyone likes shopping offline more, right?
Yeah.
And the second one is AI. And very interestingly, in one of your projects, Control, you talk about the pros and cons of technology. First things first, how often do you use technologies like AI, GPT or something?
I'm pretty basic. Like I've not gone into the, I've never used Chat GPT in my life. So I'm not like, I'm a little scared of it because I think I've worked on that movie also. So I know really like the bad side of it. So I'm actually not that tech savvy for a Gen Z person, but I'm like basic. Yeah.
What's that one big threat, you know, of technology that stands out to you?
I think that we don't know where it's going to go. I think that's scary, like the uncertainty involved in it because it's evolving so rapidly. It's called artificial intelligence for a reason. It's, I think we've started it, but it's just going to go out of our hands in some way and we won't know who's controlling who. That's what I find scary. I find the invasion of privacy really scary. Who's watching, who's listening, data collection, data theft, like these things are like, you know, we're just signing off our cookies and accepting anything and we don't even know ki ye cookies kya hai, you know, so I think those are scary things. I think we need to like, you know, I think make some laws and have some stricter rules when it comes to it. But I also think that there's a flip side. There's also a great side to social media and AI, and you know, it helps so many new businesses and startups. So everything is good in moderation and limitations.
I think again a very excellent answer, Ananya. One final question, and this one is derived from the theme of our event, which is about the future of retail, right? Now, when we have been talking about the future of retail, we are actually building for the next generation, which is highly unpredictable, super moody.
Yeah.
And
Are you like saying something about me? I think I'm a Gen Alpha. I think Gen Z now we are fine only.
Yeah?
Yeah. Gen Alpha, I'm quite confused by. My sister, I think she'd be Alpha.
Yeah.
Wait, what's the generation younger than Gen Z?
That's
Alpha only, na? Very confusing.
And you have a small nephew also now.
Yeah, but he's like,
He's-
one, not even one, so
He'll
I don't
be-
even know what
He'll
generation
be
that
Gen
is.
Beta, if I'm
Yeah,
not wrong.
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So the question actually was, who better to actually answer this than a Gen Z? How can brands win Gen Zs? This is the big question.
Again, I don't want to sound repetitive, but I really do think it's about honesty and authenticity, you know, and telling your story proudly, and identifying what that story is. You know, if I have to look back and start my own brand or think about when I'm starting a brand, I think the first thing that will come to my mind is, okay, but what is different about what I'm doing? You know, I think we all get so lost in what the trends are and being similar to everyone. I think we need to focus on what sets us apart and what makes us unique. So if I have to make my own brand, I think the first thing I would think of, okay, but what's my story? Okay, I have So Positive, which is a digital social responsibility. So something that I've really stood for and I'm known for is kindness. And that's, you know, something that I've built my brand on. So that's something that I'm doing slightly different. And maybe that's the direction I would go in. So yeah, I think, and that, when you're honest, that's also a very attractive quality in a person, in a brand, in a movie. Honesty is something that I think speaks out more than anything. Yeah.
Excellent. I think this is the perfect answer to close our chat. Honesty and authenticity, they win the audience always. we are more than happy to, you know,
Felt like a
chat for
rapid fire. If you want to ask anything, you can ask.
One final question I had. Your Insta game is again very strong. Any caption tips? We all want to build our personal brands also.
I would just go with your mood, honestly. Like some days I'm just not feeling anything, so I'll put one emoji or I'll put a song or write anything that's coming to my mind. And it's okay to change, you know, that I feel like, you know, when I started out, I used to put these really like very bad puns, you know, those typical dad jokes as my
I really
captions.
like them. They're so good.
And I got very stuck in that, you know. Then I started feeling the pressure ki this is what people expect from me, to mujhe yehi karna hai, you know. And that put a lot of pressure on me. And actually, social media is supposed to be fun, so don't take it too seriously, I would say.
Wow, I think that's another word of advice, guys. Don't take social media too seriously.
Yes.
On that note, Ananya, thank you so much for joining us. What a lovely conversation. And as always, you were too honest, too authentic. Love this.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone.